All right. How's everyone?
Great. Just poor, untimely at unmuting. How's that?
That's cool. I was talking to Mary Jo earlier. I want to apologize in the future. I did not get a lot completed over the past few weeks. It's been kind of hectic with personal stuff. So I do apologize in advance. But if you want to take a look at the agenda that I emailed everyone, did everyone get that?
Was it attached to the email that with all the other documents?
Yeah, it was.
Okay, I'm just trying to find it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think I'm just now even noticing a couple spelling mistakes, but again, like I said, I was kind of rushing when I made it, so.
Not letting me basically send.
Sorry, I can barely hear you.
You're good. My email's a little jacked at the moment, and it's not letting me send out attachments or read attachments.
Oh, okay.
Christian, I don't see it. It from the hold on.
I'm looking at my sent and it has
you know what?
on it.
Never mind. I see it. My email, it just automatically puts everything in alphabetical order, not date order, which
oh, that's weird.
It's annoying. Okay, never mind. I apologize. I got it.
All right, no problem. All right. Are there any additions or corrections they want to do to the agenda?
Looks good to me.
All right. And everyone's here. I don't have minutes from last meeting. Like I said, I'm just rushing. A lot of crazy stuff's happening right now. So I appreciate everyone's patience. So I'm kind of moving to the first topic. I know that we discussed about rescheduling, possibly May. I don't think we have any resolution on that currently due to the stay-at-home order still in place. And I'm not sure when that might even change still. So I think we should probably just move that again to next meeting. I'll just leave it on the agenda and hopefully we can continue.
Agreed.
Yeah. So I think the next one, let's see, the entrance signs.
Actually, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
So tonight is technically a public hearing for the 2021 preliminary tax budget.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if we can't do a public hearing the same way, maybe.
All right, let me, I don't see Ron on here.
Hang on, when is this preliminary hearing? Because I certainly didn't see any kind of notice for that.
I'm pretty sure that it went out for the preliminary tax budget. I'm pretty sure that's tonight in Budget and Finance. Ms. Nichols,
but there has to be a separate notice saying that there's a public hearing.
It was sent out maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago.
And I'm also pretty certain that it was in the Inquirer.
Yeah, I know they sent it to the newspaper because I asked him what outlets did he use, and I know one was to the paper.
So how does
that was on the website too?
How does public participation work with that?
I'm not sure how we're doing it with Zoom. Obviously, you know what? I'm gonna put you on mute and call him because if he didn't get with Ms. Zorb, I mean, did he get with you to set up a Zoom or link or something? Okay.
Not for a public hearing.
Okay.
Mr. Edgy, let's get back to your meeting though.
Yeah, no, I mean, if it's possible that we can do it over Zoom with, as long as there's public participation or the option for that, I'm fine with asking Mr. Mosby about that. All right.
Zorb, could you, not right now, reach out to ICRC and ask them if it is possible to have like an internal meeting for us with public participation, that they can't take over stuff?
All right. So next we have the entrance signage. I think I was kind of left up with Mr. Mosby on kind of getting an overall pricing on that. Madam Mayor, do you have anything from him or heard anything about that? I still think she's on the phone though.
So a little backstory though is at first we were told that we couldn't use it.
Yeah, no, we
We get
can.
funds for this, but then after emailing our law director's office, we can use restricted funds for this. What we may have to do is make a simple motion, or write a letter to ask that it be looked at to put up the directional signs.
For simple motion, can that, I guess we do that in council, or can we do that here in committee still?
It's in council only.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't spend money here. Actually, we can't even take a vote, or like a real vote here.
Real good. Okay. Motion.
So you would want to do a simple motion under maybe old business, because we've discussed this new business because it's never been discussed in council. So
yeah.
you would probably want to do a motion under new business.
Yeah, I'll email Mary and have that added to new business.
Can I just throw out one potential problem in that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if it is or not, but I would probably reach out to Ari Hall prior to that to see how much money is in there, because I know we're in money, we're tight on money, and I would hate to use money for signs and we would end up needing it for salaries.
I think that she'll be.
Or don't we already, I'm sorry, Amber, don't we already, with the street funds, aren't salaries already 100% taken out of there for?
Yeah. But they also take out, like if Ron works on the streets, they take out his salary. You know, that stuff that I can't stand that that you are fully on board with.
Well,
allocation plan, a cap plan. Yeah.
Yeah, I hate it. I think it's crap. And that's all my personal opinion. But my point is there are other salaries taken out of that. And I would hate
I think we can just make that in the motion, like just as well, because I just want to know the pricing on it.
Okay.
I'm not saying that we should move forward on giving him direction on doing it now.
Okay.
I just want to know how much it would cost to get signage.
Okay.
So
cool. Yep.
Anything else?
Here's Ron. I think Ron's actually hopping on real quick.
Yeah, I was gonna say I called him. He's on now. He's trying to get on, I guess. He said he did put something on the notice for citizens can join Zoom per whatever notice he put out there, but you can ask him. I don't know what link he used.
Mr. Chair, may I have just 2 minutes? I need to run and grab a Band-Aid.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm sorry, Kristen, I didn't say Mr. Chair.
Oh, it's okay. It's pretty informal, so I'm cool. All right. We'll move on to the Tree City USA. Like I said, we've been talking about this. I sent everyone, I know yesterday, basically everything that is on Tree City's website, the template, ordinance, the resolution, not the ordinance, excuse me. What is it? Go back here.
There's a worksheet in here. Is that what you're
trying
to say?
There's the worksheet. Thank you.
Proclamation and worksheet.
The proclamation and worksheet. So that kind of gives us everything that we need to move forward. On that, did anyone get in touch with any arborists that they think would be good to have on the board? Because I think we talked last time. If I find my notes here, I can look. We said two professionals, I think we said. I'm trying to find out where I wrote it down.
I know I mentioned one, and it's the chiropractor on Hamilton Avenue.
Okay. See, I wrote that down and then I didn't
But
know.
I don't know who the other one is that we talked about.
All right. Yeah, so I think we said for the tree board.
Actually, I think Mr. Mosby knew of the other one. I can't remember who brought up the other one. Sorry.
No, you're fine. We said 2 professionals, 2 resident elects, and then I think we said 1, or maybe we said 1 professional. I think it's 1 professional, 1 mayor appointee, and then 1 council. Other than that, I haven't really done much with the tree board. I know that I wanted to meet with Amber, but we never got to do that to actually get the legislation ready. So I think that's something that we can do, Amber, before next meeting, is just get this done so we can get it out of committee.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
I feel as though you and I have a lot of stuff that we have to work on.
We do.
Probably need to block off an entire Tuesday or Wednesday afternoon.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Been really busy with work, so we'll probably have to do something either later in the evening or on the weekend because I'm working usually pretty late now. So just depending. All right. So any questions on the tree board? I don't know if you guys had a chance really to look over it.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I would like to ask if Mrs. Orb would be interested in serving on the tree board.
And you planted all those tulips, so.
And she is a tree advocate and
Yeah.
a pruning advocate. And I think if there's one of us that should, I'm just saying, I just want to know if she would be interested on serving on the tree
Yeah, I
board.
nominate.
You can't nominate anybody. Okay,
Fine.
thank you.
Awesome. All right. So the next one is the beauty salon. So I know, Ron, we mentioned last time when we met that you would work on a letter.
Actually, I volunteered
Or
to
who
do
was it?
that.
Yeah, thank you.
I did, and I just haven't had an opportunity to do it, but I will put it on my, to-do list.
No, I understand. I haven't got anything.
Yeah,
either.
things have just been crazy lately, so I'll get that done and get with Mr. Mosby, and get it to you, and then we can work with Mr. Mosby. But I was the one who
Yeah.
volunteered to do that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for reminding me. Other than that, I don't have really anything else on that, just kind of following up. I know that we discussed a couple other things last meeting. The Warrior Run. I don't remember really where we left off on that. Anyone?
I think everybody was supposed to go to the website and take a look at it. It's like an annual thing. I know it's still scheduled for September. They haven't canceled it.
Yeah.
So far. I know they raise a lot of money. A lot of people participate, and either we can participate in that or we can have something similar in North College Hill, I think.
Okay.
I know Warrior Run. I did not go. Y'all, I apologize. It's been, well, first of all, the email's jacked. Second of all, I have had a busy week, as you know, on.
Amber, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me. I'm unmuted.
I hear you like this at this level. Is it just me? Can everybody else hear okay?
I can hear you, but it is softer than everybody else's voice.
Well, my volume's all the way up. So
That's better. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So it's been a busy week for me as we reopened Saturday. So I will go online and definitely check out the Warrior Run website this week, as I should be able to have some breathing room. We also talked about the National Night Out. I think it would be really cool to do the National Night Out. I don't think it has to be that big. I think that we could get a lot of sponsorship for it. I don't believe that it's something that's going to cost us a whole bunch of money to do. It's just going to be, can we just shut down Hamilton and Galbraith for an evening?
What's the date on that National Night Out? Do you know?
October 6th. Normally, I think it's the first Tuesday in August, but with the COVID, they're doing the first Tuesday in October. I can forward you guys the email real quick. Hopefully. It attaches everything. I do think, though, that coming out of this, we need to do something community related. Not necessarily to raise funds for ourselves, but to bring the community closer together.
Yeah, I mean, I'm tentative on really scheduling or trying to move anything with large gatherings and kind of until we have, I don't know, until all of this is kind of cleared up. Because right now it's just, everything's kind of reopening, but how much is that going to change?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Ms. Bailey, I have been throwing out some ideas and having conversations. So if you could, maybe we can do a joint effort. I have been talking with Diane to see if she could put together something, because we've missed so much with the COVID. We're going to miss the Memorial Day parade. We missed the Easter egg hunt. And I know that you wanted to do something that was celebratory, and so did I. So if we could collaborate together to have one big something instead of two different things, if you could bring your ideas and work with Ms. Toll and myself, but she was putting together, maybe like we would start with a celebratory parade or something once everything is done. And again, like Mr. Hedger said, we don't know when that'll be, because we don't know when anything will open up. I'm hoping that everything opens up so we can do the car show in September. But if he doesn't free us from, if the governor doesn't say, hey, you can have more than 10 people in an event, we might be looking into next spring, next summer. So just so we won't have two events. I think that'll cut the costs on a whole lot if we try to get together to see if we can just collaborate and have everything at once.
Cool. Yeah, I'm down.
All right. I mean, looking at the agenda, I don't think I have anything else really to go over. Like I said, I know that Amber and I have some more work coming up here, especially in budget and finance over the next month. Does anyone else have any comments, questions, concerns?
I do have a question, but it's for Josh from ICRC.
Yes, Miss Bailey.
So I can't start my meeting early, but I can start it late. If we close this link, can we use the exact same link at 7:30 to sign into budget and finance?
We cannot.
We just don't sign out. Josh, you can close us down without, like, you can stop broadcasting without closing us down, right?
I don't think so.
But I can start it late. If we close this link, can we use the exact same link at 7?
Yeah, I don't think so, because once I hit end stream on YouTube, that link is this live stream. That link is locked to this live stream.
Can we get another link?
Just put up the ICRC emblem and we'll be done. And we all mute ourselves.
So yeah, when are we trying to start?
7:30.
Okay.
7:30.
Yeah, I started.
Oh yeah.
7:30.
You're right. Sorry, my bad. Yep.
So
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Miss Bailey. I'll ask when you're done.
Okay, can everybody though? I just sent out. So apparently my email is picking and choosing what it will send out to everybody. Can everybody check to make sure that they're getting attachments in the next 30 minutes from me? And let me know, call me, text me something so I can try to resend them again. Miss Underwood, did it come through the second time for you?
I haven't looked. I'm trying to figure out if we're finishing with Mr. Hedger's meeting. I don't want to like encroach on his meeting if we're not finished.
No, I mean, we're just checking. Basically, I'm about done. I think we're just checking to make sure we have everything next time.
Okay. Ms. Zorb, did you want to ask Mr. Mosby about the meeting for
Public hearing for
public hearing? Yeah.
Did you just ask him?
I did, but he's here now, so you can ask him again.
No, I meant like even now. Mr. Mosby.
Oh.
It was there. Is he? Mr. Mosby?
Mr.
Like he's still muted. There he is. I just didn't know if you needed a special meeting set up with ICRC for the public hearing, because I did not request that, if that was needed.
No, we put the announcement out, via the newspaper, but since it is part of our regularly scheduled finance committee meeting, it's going to be in conjunction with that separate special.
I think the question is, Mr. Mosby, is how can the public participate in it, because it's a public hearing?
It is. It would probably be similar to what we are doing with these right now, unless Mr. Josh can, if a person has a question, they should be able to indicate that to ask if they do.
Just to answer Mr. Mosby's question, there is a function on Zoom that's basically a webinar thing, and we've used it for a couple communities for public hearing type events. I personally have not done one yet, so I'm not sure how it works. But that's something you could just set up with Jason. And like I said, we've done it in the past and that's worked out well from my understanding. But I could not tell you how it's different from this. I myself have not done one yet.
Okay, because this isn't necessarily a webinar, but okay.
Yeah, it'd be
Jason on?
in this. He is not on. He's running a different meeting right now.
Okay.
And then just to I did confirm this link is locked to this meeting, so I'll just throw the full screen up and I'll stick around and you guys let me know when you're ready at 7:30.
So, Josh, what time is Jason's meeting over then?
I'm not sure. We have quite a few other communities that we're covering tonight. But I don't know, whoever sets up these meetings with Jason regularly, if he wanted to set that up with him, and then we've typically done like a quick like training session with everybody to show them how it works at some point.
So how will we do that before 7:30?
We won't.
Oh, is this for the meeting at 7:30?
Yes, sir.
Oh.
Yes, sir. And the only way that we can have public participation is if we make it public.
There's a public link, but that's what I was talking about earlier.
Right.
The public, but I thought that we weren't sharing the link to that meeting.
We don't share the internal link. You're correct.
Okay, so there is a public link, and then do they just sign on to it? I guess.
Well, that's kind of what I was asking. I should have made it a little more. Maybe I didn't make it clear. I know that with the public link, there's still an opportunity, or at least I thought there was still an opportunity, Josh, for a person, if they had a question, to indicate that they wanted to make a comment or ask a question. Am I inaccurate with that statement?
No, sir. That's technically accurate. The thing with doing it that way is that we have the whole lock on the waiting room basically is on. So they'd have to be admitted into the meeting to then indicate that they wanted to ask a question. If you guys give me a moment, I can see what the best way to do this by 7:30 is.
Okay.
Cool. So if there's nothing else, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right.
Can I log back in at 7:30 or do I need to?
You're just gonna mute it and
Yeah.
stop video.
All right. See you guys at 7:30.
Okay.
Josh? Hello?
Hey guys, so I just got off the phone with Jason, and
Okay.
We are going to give you guys that option to do it that way. Basically, where I would just have to admit people as they come on. Having said that, both Jason and I agree that that is a bit of a security risk, because basically all I can see when someone comes on is their phone number or whatever they have their device named to. And past that, I wouldn't have a whole lot of control over it once they're in.
I'm thinking that there's probably not going to be that many people that would actually inquire about this particular item. However, it is a, as a matter of course, it is considered a public hearing. And so, and we did announce it. And so therefore, we just, as a technicality, we just have to make sure that we make it available for someone if they want to. So at the beginning, I guess what we would need to do is to make it very clear for Ms. Bailey that she needs, so what would she need to tell them, to tell anyone who happens to, so let me back up for a minute. You can see how many people are in the public, who access the public link. Is that correct?
What I can see is how many people are watching it on YouTube.
Okay.
And
So how many
is in the waiting room?
No, that's fine. So how many were actually watching the last committee meeting that we just had?
Nobody.
Okay. So I guess what we would need to do is to determine whether or not anybody is watching when she begins. Because if nobody is watching, which would be basically mean that nobody is present, we can open the public hearing, ask for public input. If nobody is there, then we can close it and move on and continue with the rest of the meeting.
Yeah, we could do that.
And then, yeah, so if we did that, then that would probably be the best way to do it. It is a technicality, but this particular budget is not an expense budget. It's basically a budget that is, they call it the tax budget, but it's basically what we have to submit to the county to estimate approximately what we plan on receiving as far as tax revenues are concerned from the county. So there really isn't much to that. It's a formality that we have to abide by. We have to submit that, and then that's basically it. So it's not an expense budget where we're talking about where the money is being, how the money is being used. It's basically how much we anticipate will be received. So I don't really think it should be that. I don't think there should really be that many questions about it, is what I'm saying. Sorry if I took so long to say that.
No, you're fine. Yeah, if you guys are comfortable with doing it that way, I'll assist with the waiting room and let you guys know who's watching, if we got anyone that wants to come on, and then once we move on, I'll just lock the meeting back.
Yes, right. And so if we can do that, I think that would be great.
All right, that sounds good.
All right, so then what we'll do is when Amber comes on, I think we would just need to make sure with her that that's what we'll do. We'll hold the public hearing first, open it up if there are people there, open up the public hearing, and then if there are no questions, then we can go back to the regular meeting.
Real quick, I'm listening to all of this, so I'm still here. So I'm listening to all of it, and yeah, we'll just open it up and do all of that public hearing real quick, and then move forward. I just want to make sure it's legal.
Oh yeah, that would be, as long as we open it, and as Josh said, we if nobody's in the room, we open it. 0 people participate, then it can be closed, and then we can just move on.
Cool. Hey, Ari, we're waiting for 24 minutes until we start. So you can mute it and take your video off. We can't start until 7:30, so we're just kind of waiting.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Hey, Ron.
Yes.
Okay, so check this. We can have this public hearing tonight. However, we're gonna have to post this again. Ari, are you on here or no? Ari. We're gonna have to repost this again, not in the Inquirer. We can use like the Hilltop Press or Northwest Press, because the argument is that people who do not have access to the internet or to a phone cannot get in on this. And so we're going to have to repost this public hearing that people can show up to the city center on whatever given night. I'll be there. And they have to RSVP, no more than 10 people at six people apart, 6 foot apart. I know that we don't have public participation in this. We have to do it to cover our ass.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think I think we should probably ask Bill about that.
I did. Well, I called him, and then I called Matt, and then I talked to another city, and basically the argument would be that if somebody doesn't have access to the internet or access to a phone, which is very common, we still have to post it again and have another public hearing on this.
I have a quick question. Are you saying we'll have to have another reading or hearing of the tax budget?
We will have to have another public hearing of it. We can still move it out and read it through council, but we still have to offer another means other than internet or phone to people. We have to offer an in-person bit, even if, like, let's be honest, no one may show up at all. They probably won't, but we still have to offer it to them so that way nobody takes advantage of the situation that we're in. And right. So we can post it in like the Hilltop Press instead of the Inquirer, which will be probably considerably cheaper, but we still have to offer it an in-person RSVP type deal on it.
Okay. Would it have to be, can it be with another council meeting, or can it be any special meeting?
It doesn't even have to be a special meeting. Like, you could literally post it for next Wednesday at 6:30, and I can show up there, and you can say you have to have a mask. You have to distance yourself. We just have to give another option other than the internet or phone, because we do live in an economically disadvantaged community where some people can't afford phones all the time.
I think we'll have to walk through that, Amber, only for several reasons. One, not that, because obviously, as you know, I mean, I know what you're saying there, but if we're going to follow the guidelines, then we have to post it, 10 days prior. So I'm thinking.
Okay, so 10 days. I don't even know how long prior it is, but we
right. So yeah. So let me finish, because what I was going to say was, what would make sense for us to do would then be to announce it and say that the public hearing then would be either at, and I guess what we'll have to do is to see how the June city council meeting will be held. If the June city council meeting will be held at the city center, then we can post it or publish it, and then we can have it during that council meeting. Okay. And that would be more than 10 days, obviously plenty more than 10 days in order to post it. But we did post it, just for your information, we posted in the Hilltop, for this meeting. Okay. So.
Oh, absolutely. No. So I know, speaking honestly, I know the Inquirer is much more expensive than the Hilltop to post. And so we can post it just in the Hilltop and not in the Inquirer, and it's still fine. But we have to post another means, an in-person means of doing this, if that makes sense.
yeah, I mean, we'll just, as long as everybody is aware of that, and that's what council wants to do, then that's what we'll do.
Okay,
Mhm.
cool. So it is 7:31. We will call budget and finance.
Yeah, Josh, excuse me, will have to open the meeting because right now, okay, there we go.
Okay. So it is 7:31, and we're going to go ahead and open budget and finance. It does look like all members are present. I hope that you guys did get the agenda. You guys do not have minutes yet, and again, it is completely because, like Mr. Hood has been swamped at work.
Somebody is giving some really bad feedback. It's like really, really bad. Like, I don't know what that is.
I'm gonna mute myself to see if it's me. Is it still giving feedback though?
When you cut it off, I didn't hear it, so I think it might be coming from your phone, yes, or your device.
Is it coming now?
I still hear a little bit of what Erica was mentioning, like a squeak or something.
It's whenever you speak.
Okay, 1 second, guys.
Josh, are you on?
Yes, sir.
Is there anyone in the public waiting room?
I'm not seeing any now.
Okay. Thank you.
Am I still giving like feedback or the noise? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to try to call in real quick on my cell phone to see if that helps. And maybe my internet right now. Cool.
While she's coming back on, I'm just gonna ask, you know what? Now I hear it when I'm talking. Everybody hear it when I'm talking too now?
Do you
Maybe
hear
it's
when I talk?
Yeah.
So, okay. It's
So
not her.
it's not her.
No.
But while she's gone, did everybody get the second edition of all the documents that she sent out?
I'm actually looking at my email now.
I think she resent them at like 6:28 today.
It says resent. I got that. Mhm.
Hey guys, is that better?
Yes, we determined it wasn't
Okay.
you while
Oh,
you're gone,
dang.
because
Okay.
it's all of us.
Well, okay. So I'm on my phone now instead of the video, so hopefully that helps. This is the first of 2 preliminary tax budget public hearings. Josh, do we have anybody present to speak on the preliminary tax budget other than us?
No, ma'am. I'm showing nobody in the waiting room. 1 viewer.
Okay. Does that viewer, the viewer that is watching this does have the ability to speak though, yes? If they choose to.
If you guys posted the public link to this Zoom meeting, then yes.
Okay, cool. So with that being said, this is of course our preliminary tax budget. I hope that everyone was able to receive it. We will have to have another public hearing on this. It will have to be an in-person public hearing, as some people may not have access to the internet or phone, and in that case we will repost it and they will be able to come to the city center if they RSVP, and we will go from there. Questions? Hello?
I don't have any questions.
Okay, I'm just making sure that somebody can hear me. Anyone can hear me.
Sorry, I was used to
Alright.
shaking my head no, but I forgot that you can't see me now.
No, I can't see anyone. So yeah, basically this is, as you guys know, this isn't our actual tax budget. This is the one that we turn into the county. It is a public hearing. There is no one virtually to speak, but we will offer this once again for people that do not have access to the internet or to a phone in person at the city center. Of course, they will have to wear their mask and we will have to respect the 6-foot social distancing rules, but that will be posted hopefully before our next council meeting. Cool. Now, with that
Cool.
being said, does anybody have any problems with moving this out to the council floor for us to start reading it to stay in accordance with the county?
Madam Chair.
Can we do that
Yes,
before
sir.
we have the second hearing?
Yes, ma'am, we can.
Yes, that's what I wanted to explain. So to be very clear, you had explained to me prior to this meeting that you had requested a second public hearing. That public hearing can be done in a couple of ways, but one, which I believe would be the most efficient way if this happens, would be that if council decides that they are going to hold their not this coming Monday's meeting, but the meeting in June in person, then what we can do is we can post that and we can have the public hearing during that reading of the ordinance. And then that way,
Mr. Mosby,
yes.
it is my understanding that even if we don't meet in person in June, that as long as someone is there, and I'll do it, wearing a mask and people are sitting 6 foot apart, just as long as we offer the public to be able to say something in person, not via telephone or internet, we will be okay. So whether it's council meeting
Right.
or committee meeting, we'll be fine.
What I was saying though was that when I mentioned efficient, I was saying doing that so that we wouldn't have to have two separate meetings. If we do need to have two separate meetings, that certainly is fine. But if council does decide to hold that meeting in June, then both can be done at the same time. Otherwise, and it's like you said, you just have to have somebody present to be able to come in, or for people to come in and then to offer their input.
So with that being said, is everybody okay with having the next public hearing during new business during our June council meeting? Even if we don't meet in person, I will go to the city center for this public hearing.
My only concern is when is this due to the county, and will we have enough time
This will
to
be
get 3 readings in?
This will be the second reading. It will go through the second reading in June.
So I'll say it again. When is it due?
It's due in July, and so the third reading will be the council meeting in July. And so at that point, once it's passed, Ari will send it out to the county and plenty of time for it to arrive there before the deadline. I believe it's July 20th, technically.
Ron, you broke up. July the what?
July the 20th, I believe. But Ari, you can confirm
Yes,
that.
yes. We have to have it submitted to the county by July 20th.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Hall and Mr. Mosby, could you guys post that the next public hearing on this will be our first council our only council meeting in June at the city center, and we should probably limit it to 10 people at a time with social distancing just in case.
Yes, Ari and I'll do that, but let me just make sure that I understand you correctly, because now I think after listening to you, I understand. So regardless if the council meeting is held in person or not, during that council meeting, Madam Chair, you will be at the city center. And so if people do desire to publicly comment, you will be present there so that they can come in and submit their comments. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Wearing a mask.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Now, if the governor lifts everything before then of course they can adhere to that. But just as far as posting goes, let's just go ahead and play on the precautionary tale that I will still be there to let people in. Cool. Awesome.
We'll take care of that.
Thank you. Mr. Josh, just real quick, there is no one in the waiting room wishing to make a comment.
No, ma'am.
Thank you. If everybody is cool, we will move on to lead pipe replacement program with Greater Cincinnati Waterworks.
Amber, I didn't receive a copy of that.
That is the one that I sent you guys a bunch of copies of. So I'll just bring you up to speed. Basically, last year, the Greater Cincinnati Waterworks, the city of Cincinnati, who owns Greater Cincinnati Waterworks, put out a piece of legislation that if you had lead pipes leading into your house, they would not hook up city water to those lead pipes because it was an issue for people downstream of you. So what they did was, in order to help homeowners or people who own homes, period, they created a program that they would basically fix the lead pipes, replace them with pipes that weren't made of lead, and they would assess them to your property taxes, and you would be able to pay for them over time instead of having to pay $7,000-8,000 to get your pipes replaced. We did not pass the resolution to go into that program with them, and so some of the homeowners here who have rental property or homes themselves have been having to pay out of pocket the entire price of replacing those pipes, which ranges from $6,000 to $10,000. And that's just to receive running water. So Greater Cincinnati Waterworks created a program that if a municipality says, okay, cool, you can assess this, it's kind of like breaking down the cost of replacing these pipes over a period of time via a tax lien.
It's a payment plan, essentially.
Right. In order for our homeowners to qualify for said payment plan, we have to opt into this program.
What is the city's involvement other than approving a legislation? Do we have any?
To my understanding, that's it.
Is there a requirement to the citizens to do it once we opt in?
There is not a requirement to the citizens to do it once we opt in. However, if we don't opt into this, if somebody has lead pipes, the Greater Cincinnati Waterworks can just simply refuse to hook them up with running water unless they replace the pipes immediately. So basically, we're giving our citizens the option to either A, put this on a payment plan, or B, pay for it out of pocket, or they don't have running water.
I hear pros and I'm missing the con. What's the con?
In my personal humble opinion, the fact that the city of Cincinnati owns Greater Cincinnati Waterworks, and it's something that we have to do, and they're forcing our hands.
Well, no, they're not, because we could not opt in. And I mean, I paid for mine out of pocket, and mine was $3,200. So I'm not sure where that $6,000 to $10,000 came from, but I had mine done probably 3 years ago, and it was $3,200.
Well, I guess the con, there's no con, I don't think. I mean, we don't lose anything, we don't gain anything. There's no administrative fees that we can gain from this. It's basically, they own Greater Cincinnati Waterworks. The only thing that we can do is do this. It just really sucks that this is what they've chosen to do to prevent people from having lead pipes. And some residents may not be able to afford even a payment plan or paying for it out of pocket.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I spoke briefly with someone from Cincinnati Waterworks. Excuse me, not from Cincinnati, Greater Cincinnati Waterworks. I'm sorry. Somebody who actually serves on our fire department, they work with, they work for the fire department. I mean, the water department, but they also serve part-time in our fire department. I wasn't able to get all the details on this because we only had a brief conversation about it. And so I would need to, I do think that if these questions are coming up, it would be, right to get as much information as we can on it, because I'm not certain myself as to whether or not what they're asking from the city is simply a resolution. If that resolution then, to some degree, quote unquote, guarantees, these the repairs, or guarantees the payment for the repairs. But as you pointed out, they did mention that, through this particular program, the people can extend the payments out, so that they don't have to pay it all up front. My question, of course, is the same as Ms. Zor's, which is, well, if they can do that, through the program, if the city does it, why wouldn't they be able to do it, on their own? So I'm not certain of that answer, but I can certainly find that out.
So, Mr. Mosby, I can answer some of that for you real quick. So, basically, what it is that I did go through this a couple of years ago, so I can give you a lot of those answers. So, in order to qualify for this, yes, we will need a agreement from you and the law director, in which case that we have to pass through a resolution that they can assess whatever properties there are to put this on their tax lien. So what they're looking at is roughly $175 a year added to their property taxes, rather than having to pay the $175 per half year, so $350 a year, in order to add this to get it done over a payment plan, versus rather than them having to pay it all out front. They're also doing a cost share of roughly 40%. So they're going to pay 40% of the cost up front, so our homeowners or people who own homes and rent them out in the city don't have to pay that part of it. I do have a lot of the information for you, and I can forward that to you.
Another thing is, you can go to their website. They have a whole website on this as well. It's extremely helpful and has a lot of the answers to your questions as well.
And so with Mr. Hedger, I'm sure he is, since he used to be employed by Greater Cincinnati Waterworks, he is very well up to date on this. But I can tell you it did come down to a very, very, very heated debate and argument with them, because, we have some people in North College Hill that own one home, and then we have some people in North College Hill that own 100 homes. And so it's just really, really, really cost prohibitive for them to have to pay X amount of money, depending on how far they are back from the street to have running water. I'm just trying to provide them a second option. Mr. Hedger, would you like to give out the website for this?
Yeah, so you can go to, it's lamygcww.org. And they, on the first thing, they have, the enhanced lead program. And it kind of gives a breakdown of what it was for, how it was implemented. And then it also has a replace your lead line quoting system, to where you can get a quote as well, because using the waterworks contractors, you already get, I believe it's, was it a 40% discount? It was a pretty large discount by going.
It is 40%.
Yeah. By using their contractors, because they partnered with them. And you can also go to, they have I believe there's a map somewhere on here, I haven't been on in a while, that you can see all of the upcoming scheduled work, because the only time they're going to make someone actually replace their line is if they are doing work on that street. and are replacing the lines there, and they say this house has lead, that would be the only time. They're not going to make you do it if they're not already planning to do scheduled work. I think that's about all I have. I mean, it's really on a case-by-case basis. I know
thought
they
there was
also
a
have,
map somewhere that had that you could see if you were led.
there
Is that
is.
still is?
Yeah.
I'm looking for it on that website that you
I
mentioned.
don't
I
know
don't
if it's
see it.
on this website. It might be on the City of Cincinnati's page under Waterworks. I think sometimes it's easier just to Google it, to be honest, because sometimes it's kind of hard to find on the city's website.
I hate Google.
And I'm pretty sure that when we talked about this quite some time ago, it was houses that were built pre-1950 or 1910.
Yeah, I mean, it's only older houses, but I mean, the majority of houses in North College Hill meet that. So.
And so basically, if you guys are thinking that this is something that we should participate for the citizens, instead of reinventing the wheel, I just want to pass it along to the law directors, have them write it, get the contracts together, resolutions together, and then bring it out for a council meeting.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should move forward with it. There's really no negative part for us to it. It's just to help the customers, you know, to get people safe drinking water.
And all of the samples that I sent you guys again were sent to me by Greater Cincinnati Waterworks. So again, I would send them to the law director and ask him to write them on behalf of us. And so we would go from there.
I did want to mention one last thing. There is the help program that just started with Waterworks, well, maybe a year, 2 years ago, for low-income individuals as well, that can provide assistance. I can't remember if it was just for the city of Cincinnati. I was trying to read their form. I don't see anything. I just think it says, yeah, it's defined by the limits of Hamilton County. So it looks like anyone went there can actually, if you meet the, I believe it's income qualifications, can get help as well. I know a lot of that is paid for like by donations from employee contributions, and then I know the city gives them a certain amount.
So does anyone have any problems, questions, concerns with participating in this?
I do not.
So if I send it over to the law director for him to create the correct resolutions, as he gets it back to me, assuming there are no typos, are we clear to move this to the council floor?
That's fine with me,
Well,
Amber. I keep forgetting you can't see the video, but I'm okay with that.
Cool. Yeah, I'm flying blind over here, guys. Oh. Okay. So, moving forward, we spoke about increasing our rental rates in our last meeting, our rental registration rates in our last meeting, in order to start some kind of grant purpose for down payment assistance. we would have to create a special fund for that, as 50% of those proceeds would go to the city, and then the other 50% would go into a grant making body that would help people with down payment assistance to buy homes. Do we want to limit it to down payment assistance, or would we like to offer some kind of incentive for remodeling, redoing, adding on, etc.?
Personally, I think I would prefer it to be just a person buying a home. I'm afraid if we do it to everyone, I'm afraid that someone might get in that, they say they are living here or they rehab it. And then, say it takes them 6 months to rehab, and then we don't even catch that they sold it and they're not staying within the 5 years of living in the property. I just wouldn't want it to turn into people flipping houses and leaving, or, purchasing it, saying they're going to live here, renovating it, and then renting it out.
I wholeheartedly agree, but I feel like sometimes that people would love to just upgrade their house but don't have the money to do so. And I think that if we set the proper parameters and the proper fines and fees, basically, if somebody wants to add on a room to their house and they do it and we provide them a grant and they sell it within 6 months, then we can assess it.
No, I get that. You can assess it and say you collect the money back at a prorated amount. I mean, that's what the funds are, that's how it's set up in all the other cities that have similar programs. It's just who's monitoring that, who's going to monitor it. That's, I think, the biggest concern for me, because I know a lot of those programs, they don't have good monitoring set in place, and a lot of the stuff just gets pushed under the rug.
Pushed under.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it gets hard because then if someone, say that turns into a lawsuit saying that they are living there, or we assess someone and they shouldn't have been, and I would prefer just stay away from that, because I'd rather just give it to people who are purchasing a home for their own, owner occupied. So
Primary place of residence.
Yeah, for at least 5 years, and then if you move out, you can get assessed then. But trying to collect that can sometimes be difficult.
Okay, so we're not going to reinvent the wheel here, as they like to say, but we're going to create it around our own. So we're going to say that the parameters are, we're going to do a down payment assistance program based off of rental registrations. Roughly, guys, we're looking at $45,000 a year, roughly, if it passes through council to raise the fee. Does anyone have an idea of how much they would like to cap the amount of the upfront grant for, or the match for?
I think it should be important. Are we going to do a grant or a match? I think
my opinion is match, because I want somebody else to have skin in the game too.
Okay, so let's say match. So what if somebody got approved by a lender, they're ready to buy a home, and their only thing is their credit score, they can only provide up to, they have to have 20% down, but they only have $2,000. Do we want to match them $2,000, or do we want to give them $5,000 to buy a home here?
I think another way when we're looking at it, it doesn't have to be specifically a grant or match. It could be a mixture of both.
Okay.
You require, say, at least 2% of them into the game. So say if the house is $100,000, they have to have at least 2% of their own money in it, and then we will give them say $5,000. That's that's a mixture of it. So they have their own skin in the game, but they also get a larger percent down, which then can help them buy a larger house. If they have a lower credit score, it can lower their interest rates. It might get rid of PMI on a property. Those are all helpful things to first time home, any home buyer.
So they have to provide at least 2% upfront, which is $2,000 on $100,000 house, and we will give them up to $5,000.
That was just I was just stating numbers.
Right.
If that's going to be it or not. I mean, with 45,000, I would like to see more people than maybe like 2,500 instead of 5,000. If I mean, that can give us a lot, since housing prices here are normally more affordable. So
if they provide up to 2%, then we'll match them at 2.5%. On $100,000 valuation, then we're looking at $2,500 to their $2,000.
Yeah, if they give 2%, we will give up to $2,500 or something like that, or so that they always have some skin in the game. Because I agree. I think someone is purchasing a house should have some skin in it.
Absolutely.
And so that would give them roughly almost a 5% down payment on a house. So I mean that should be able to get them into a conventional mortgage instead of going through like an FHA. I think you can have as low as a credit score of 660, I think it is. I can't remember.
Right. Yeah, it's a 660 right now.
Yeah, I think it's 660 for conventional, but I think if for FHA it's 5, maybe 560, 590, somewhere around there.
So I'll run through the last two real quick. So primary place of residence for 5 years. Anybody think that should be less than 5 years or more than 5 years? And again, I can't see you, so.
Sorry, I was shaking my head. I do not think it should be less than 5 years.
I think 5 years is the right amount.
It's a reasonable request, I think.
Miss Underwood?
I have a problem with that unmute button. I think 5 years is a reasonable request as well.
Okay, so we're gonna say if they provide 2%, we will give them up to 2.5%, up to $2,500.
$2,500, not 2%, because that could be a lot different on how valuable the house is.
So I have a crazy question.
Mm-hmm.
If they fail to uphold their end of the bargain, how do we
we gotta
get that money back?
We gotta talk about fines and fees in just a minute. Yes, ma'am. So, but the max that we are willing to give out to somebody is $2,500. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what the grant should be. It should be $2,500. So, if
nothing to sneeze at.
Whether they give 2% or 10%, we're going to give them $2,500.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair amount.
Okay.
What other city does that? None. Welcome to North College Hill.
Cincinnati's the only one.
There are a few cities that do this, actually, and they also so we're under a CRA and a TIF. So
hang on, we're getting down a rabbit hole. Stay on this subject for a minute. Keep going.
We are on this subject. So basically, since we're under a CRA, a lot of cities are saying, hey, if you put $2,000 into your house for renovations to boost your property value, we'll give you $2,000. They'll match it for people that have been long-term residents or choose to be long-term residents. There are a lot of cities out there that are doing this. Not off rental registration, but still, they are doing this, whether it be a down payment assistance program or general upkeep and maintenance of your house. well, not upkeep and maintenance, but adding on a room or adding on a story or whatever have you to boost property values. So with fines and fees, if a person was out of their primary place of residence within the first 5 years, what's a decent fee? Or $2,500 to be assessed? Because I think so.
I don't think you can do just a flat 2,500. I think you have to prorate it on how many years they've lived there.
Okay. So that would be roughly $500 a year.
And we're not putting any income requirements on this, correct? We're just anyone?
No. I don't even think that, personally, I don't think there should be an income requirement, or if it's your first time buying a house or your 70th time buying a house. Like,
As long as it's your primary residence.
Yeah.
right.
You can't own 70 houses.
Right.
You can own 70. You have to live in the one that you're purchasing
For 5 years.
Exactly.
for 5 years.
Okay. So, primary place of residence for 5 years. You don't have to be a first-time home buyer. We will match you up to $2,500.
You keep saying up,
Um,
we're just going to give them 2,500.
Up to.
We will grant
Well, 20.
2,500.
Then what's the scale? I guess is I think what Christian is trying to ask.
Yeah,
If
are
you're
you-
saying up to, what will be the circumstance that they get less than 2,500?
Because I think we're just doing
So,
go ahead.
no, go ahead. I'm all ears.
My understanding is we're gonna, if they do 2% of whatever the down payment, we give them 2,500. So say if the house is a $50,000 house, they provide $1,000, we give them 2,500.
So, do we just want to have no scale and just say $2,500?
No, I mean, I'd rather have I want them to have skin in the game. So,
So, if they provide 2%, then we will give them $2,500.
yeah, I mean, that's what I would think, but that's up to everyone. So.
I think it's a great incentive. I would say if their house is $45,000 that they want to buy, and we're saying, hey, we're going to give you $2,500 to match this.
Yeah, I think that's great. We could help 18 families find a home. So
Yeah, that just paid for all new appliances.
or whatever they needed to do.
I'm just, yeah.
It's great.
Or a good chunk of their lead pipe replacement.
Right.
Oh,
So, I mean, really though, so yeah, if they put down at least 2%, then we will give 18 families a year $2,500 as far as their down payment assistance. Yeah.
I agree. I think it's great.
Okay. I can't see the
You talk.
sword.
Can't see you. Can't hear you. I still can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Now can you?
Yes.
Man, that button's irritating.
Just leave it off. It's okay.
No, but thank you. We can't come up with a hard and fast number of 18 because then what if we don't collect that much money?
That was just an estimate. I'm
Oh,
Right. It's yeah.
I don't
it's
want the document to say 18. I guess that's where I was going.
Oh, no. It's literally based off, because you have to think about it. The
Okay.
more people that we offer this to that can buy homes here, the less people are going to be able to rent homes here. So eventually it's going to dwindle down, and we're going to have to
In
recoup
theory.
that somehow, right, in theory, later on down the road, hopefully, fingers crossed. But right now, this is what we're looking at by increasing the fees for next year. We have 18 families that we can help out.
Okay.
And this will have to be amended down the road. It absolutely will have to be. So with that, fines prorated.
I'm assuming you're going to work very closely with the law director to make sure that that is done accurately,
yes,
so
ma'am.
we can collect
Yes,
it
ma'am.
on the back end if something goes awry.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm going to do everything that I can, and Mr. Hedger is going to double check me. And then even before this goes out to committee, you and Ms. Underwood are going to triple check me, Mr. Hedger, and our law director to make sure it's clean, because we're doing this for the first time. So other than prorating X amount of years and months lived at a residence at X amount, do we want any more fines or fees? Like,
I mean, I don't know if that, I don't think that's normal to have a fines or fees. I'm not sure.
well, if somebody buys the house here and they move in a year because they want to, then I think that they should have to repay some of their down payment assistance. Like, I think it should be
No,
assessed to the property.
I agree. I think you can't really assess it to the property because they've sold the property. So I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know the part of collecting.
It's not just the selling though, it's also if they decide to rent it, right?
And that's also how it's going
And
to.
I don't know how we would find that.
The enforcing part's very difficult. So,
Yeah.
So
that's why I'm saying it's, it's almost, I don't want to say it's an honors program, but it kind of is. Because if we try to collect, or say if someone does do that, the cost of legal fees just will go way over the $2,500 that we even gave them. I mean, almost initially. So I don't want to say it's the honors program, but it is kind of, how do we?
So I know that recently, I went on the auditor's website to see how many homes were that changed hands over the last 6
No, and
months.
that's how you get to know. I mean, I get that part, but it's at that point it's already transferred. So now, how do we have to figure out where they've gone? What your are they out of state now? How do we? That it costs it gets costly very quickly.
It does get costly very quickly, but it's the same thing as rental registration. We have to find them. Like, we're going to have to find them, and we're going to have to impose their wages. Like,
yeah, no, I get that. It's just easier because they still own the property. So it's I'm reading through right now, trying to see if they have anything. So
I think we're getting lost in the minutia right now. Can we move on?
Okay, so then we put in the minor misdemeanor part.
Ooh.
With that,
can you please talk that over with Mr. Dieters to see if that's permissible?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so everybody, so we want to do it just for down payments, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So then, vacant foreclosed homes. Currently, what we have on the books is it's $500 to register one time. And then we charge a $500 administrative fee to do the paperwork.
I'm sorry,
what
for a vacant or foreclosed home?
Yes, ma'am. So a home that a bank owns, like,
Okay.
yes, ma'am. Sorry.
So you're charging the bank because somebody can't, they lost their home. That's what we're talking about.
So what vacant and foreclosed homes are is yes and no. So somebody loses their home, right? And a bank forecloses on it. After that person's credit has already been ruined, after they are out of their house, like they have no home. We have homes here in North College Hill that sat vacant for a long time. And so, yes, we are charging the bank after the bank has already foreclosed on the house, the family's been gone, everything's out, the bank sits on the house until the housing market rises or falls. And we've seen that a lot here. And so we're charging the bank to register the vacant or foreclosed home way after the person's personal pitfalls have went through. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
It doesn't fall. Okay, so banks will sit on homes for 2 or 3 years. They'll be vacant. They'll mow the grass. They'll take care of the outside, but yet the house itself is sitting empty. And so, do we want to? Our initial resolution said that we would charge them $500 to register the house the first time, and then $500 a year. Well, what we passed is that we would charge them $500 to register the house as vacant or foreclosed, and then a $100 administration fee to do the paperwork. So, if a bank forecloses on a house and it sits in North College Hill for 10 years vacant, and they mow the grass and they take care of the shutters and whatnot, then it's $500 one time. I'm thinking if we go back to adding on an annual registration fee of it being foreclosed, then they're forced to sell it quickly to get someone in it. And that money then can be funneled into a special fund to help small businesses do renovations or clean up or anything for that matter.
I can understand, and I think I can agree with trying to make sure the banks don't sit on empty properties in the city, but I would want it to go towards helping other people buy homes rather than helping small businesses. That's just my 2 cents.
No, that's awesome. So basically, if passing the rental registration fee increase passes through council, we're looking at $45,000 a year to help down payment assistance. But I'm trying to figure out a creative way to create revenues to take some of that money from our general fund, increase our general fund revenues just by a margin that helps the business district. So I kind of like split the two evils here, if that makes sense.
I don't know. I just, I don't know if I agree that we need to help the small businesses, but I don't know. I'll have to think on that one.
Okay, which is completely fair. So with vacant and foreclosed homes, do we want to keep it at $500, a one-time flat fee to register or to say this house has been foreclosed on or vacant, or do we want to add an annual fee?
I don't really have an opinion, yes or no. So I'm
Okay.
fine with either.
If, I guess, if the goal is to force the banks to sell these homes and not have them sitting there vacant for years, then the annual fee seems to make more sense to me.
Okay. And 500 is literally like, so 500 for one time and 500 a year is what the initial legislation that was written, that's what was proposed. Like, I'm open to anything. I just want to bring it up again. So we can leave it alone. I just want to, if we're doing one, we need to talk about the other.
Can I make a suggestion?
Absolutely. Please do.
Can you, I guess, draft the legislation or have the legislation drafted for both? And then we figure it out from there. Like, we figure out which one sounds better and then send it on to council, because kind of talking about it like this is in a vacuum. It's not really, we're saying, oh, we would like to do this, but if we can get something in front of us that we can see, we can actually go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. So what I will do is I will send you guys, I think me and Miss Mary Jo out of the entire council up here are the only two that like lived through this. So I will send you guys what is currently on the books. And actually, I will send you guys what is currently on the books, and then we will re-talk about this in our next meeting, just so the way you guys can read it first. Because sometimes I forget that, I've been through this a couple of times and y'all haven't. So, yeah. So, and finance. Cool. So, let's go to disposable bag tax.
I thought we all agreed that we were going to do that, but we just needed the legislation.
We agreed that we were going to do it, but we didn't agree on the amount. So Christian and I had both written legislation, and both of those have been merged too. But what is a good amount of tax per bag that we would like to see charged in the city of North College Hill?
What's the going rate?
It's like
10
7.
cents?
Yeah, 7 to 10 cents normal.
And that has to be split
Yeah, it's usually split.
between the business and us.
Usually
So
50,
if we do,
40.
right.
And then did we discuss if we're doing a square footage portion of that?
We did. I think we absolutely talked about over 3,000 square foot, but then I brought up that my neighborhood corner store was under 3,000 square foot, and they are the world's worst at putting out plastic bags.
Yeah, but I mean, nothing like Kroger, so.
I really think it's the smaller stores that people go in and buy one thing and drop the bag versus Kroger.
Yes, ma'am.
20 bags and you load them in your car.
But
right.
I mean, it's pretty.
So we just kind of need like a sure shot thing. So if, say, in example, if we do 10 cents per plastic bag, the store gets to keep 4 cents, we get to keep 60 cents, 6 cents. Like, how do we want to play it here? And do we want a square foot limit?
I want a square foot limit. I don't want to hurt the smaller shops. This is going to be hard for them to track. They don't have
So
technology.
again, Mr. Co-Chair, in essence, the smaller stores here, so the one that I'm familiar with, they have 12 other stores other than the one here. And their store is so often filled with disposable bags. It's insane. Like the parking lot is filled, the sidewalk is filled, their garbage cans are filled. Yes, they can absolutely afford to hire more people, but they don't.
I understand what you're saying. I get your frustration. I just, from what I've read in my research, it seems to be difficult for the mom and pop stores to track and implement. And then I've seen where they've gotten fines from cities, and it's just like, I don't want to see North College Hill fining local small stores. That's just my own opinion.
Right, but those mom and pop stores are often in North College too, are franchises that own more than one. So say, in example, we don't have one here.
Yeah.
So say somebody owns a Marathon gas station. Well, they don't just own one Marathon gas station. They own 13, 14, 15 of them.
Yeah, and
And they just choose not to clean up after themselves.
The vast majority of all the national chain looking businesses are over usually 3,000 square feet. If you go to the auditor's website, you can actually look up the building and it'll tell you how many square feet is within the building.
So like Save a Lot and Family Dollar that are, do you have any idea what their square footage is?
Like over 10,000.
More than 3,000.
Yeah, they're large. So
those are considered large.
Yeah. All of those would be hit. I mean, the AutoZone, Rose's especially.
Okay, so hold on. So let's go with Shell, not McDonald's, just Shell.
That's one building, so it would be considered as one, so it would be hit.
Ameristop, Tom.
It's all the little street front, stores on Galbraith that won't be, because most of those are under 3,000 square feet.
But some of those on Galbraith, man, they need to pay this. And once again, they collect. So this is money. Well, hold on. This is money in, money out for them. So if they're under 3,000 square feet and we impose a 10-cent per bag tax, they're just going to add that on to the customer.
Well, I know they are. They'll probably add it, but it's the whole tracking portion of it, remitting it to the city and sending in payment adds a whole nother bureaucracy level that I would rather not add to a small business that, who's
I understand that. I understand that completely, but that's where Rita comes in. Rita has to do this for us, for them, and for us.
Well, I don't care who's doing it for us. I'm saying it's for them submitting it, preparing that tax form. They might not have the expertise, to do that, or they might, it's hard. It's going to be difficult for them to track. So I'd rather just not even affect them, not even have them worry about it. I'd rather affect Kroger, who's doing millions and millions of bags a year just out of our own Kroger.
Right, but then again, Ameristop, who is literally less than 3,000 square feet, man, they are putting out so many plastic bags a year. It's insane.
How many square foot is the Ameristop? Have you looked?
I would say less than 3,000.
Oh, I haven't looked.
Absolutely. I would say less than 3,000 and Metro PCS next to them. Way less than 3,000. And they're not changing out their garbage cans. They're not cleaning up. And they have 20 franchise locations in the greater Cincinnati area. I just don't think it's fair to say, okay, you're over X amount of square feet and you have to pay this, but you don't have that amount of square feet. You're still making a good amount of money every year, and here you are, and you don't have to pay it. Like, drive around the corner right now. Kroger and Walgreens, as bad as I hate to say it, is much, much cleaner than the neighborhood corner stores every single time. Every time.
Isn't there a way that we can address the cleanliness of the corner stores or the places where there's trash and bags all over the place?
We can find them with blight. However, they pay the $100 citation and they're done. And then we forget about it for 6 months until someone complains, and then they pay the $100 citation again. Like, they need to be conscious of putting plastic bags out there in our storm drains just the same as everyone else. Just the same.
I mean, I don't think, again, one store that you're talking about compared to the 20 or 30 that there might be that might other be affected by it. I just don't think it's worth it.
I agree with Christian. I think that if there are problem places that are eyesores with regard to trash and bags and that kind of thing, then perhaps we should look at who issues those citations and just have them drive by every day and issue a citation. No, it's just until they take care of the problem. Instead of issuing a citation once every 6 months, issue one every day. And I guarantee you, $3,000 in 1 month they will clean it up and keep it clean.
Well, unfortunately for us, we can't afford to pay somebody to do code enforcement on blight every single day. And we can't. And roughly, Miss Mary Jo, what are we at? It's $35 an hour for a contracted code enforcement guy, roughly?
It's 35, 38, somewhere in there.
An hour.
Okay.
And so, right. And so
Okay.
Here's the thing though. So do we say if you have under X amount of square feet, well, over X amount of square feet, yet you have more than one franchise location? Is that how we do it? Like,
I mean, I'd like to stick to the square footage. That's just me.
so if
It
somebody,
sounds like we're
let's just
talking about
say-
two separate issues, Amber.
No, we're not. So say that somebody owns, okay, so if I open up, hypothetically speaking, 100 lemonade stands in North College Hill, all with plastic bags, and it's literally a 2 foot by 3 foot, so 6 square feet location, and I have 100 of them in the city. Well, my location is only 200 square feet, but do I pay nothing at all for giving out all of those plastic bags? Or do I have to pay something because I have more than one location?
I don't know the answer to that. But I don't want to discourage people from opening businesses in North College Hill. So
I don't either. And that's the thing, is they pass this tax along to the customer. As a customer, we're going to pay this. So what we're saying is if you're a big business, you can charge the tax, keep half of it to educate your staff. But if you're a business under 3,000 square feet and you're nasty and you are dirty, you don't have to charge us at all. And yet we're still putting a strain on our stormwater resources. Like, this isn't a sense of revenue for me. This is a precautionary tale of people's backyards flooding because there's too many plastic bags in our storm drains.
And Amber, I get what you're saying. I think obviously it's a stormwater issue. It's an environmental issue. It's keeping our streets clean. But literally the Kroger that's in our neighborhood, when I contacted them, they do over like 10 million bags a year. I guarantee you more of those bags get in the streets than the one at Ameristop. That it's just the pure numbers of it. There's just
Oh, I agree completely. I agree completely. However, Kroger has employed people to clean up those bags. Not like they should by any means. However, and again, I love my Ameristop dudes. They don't do anything to clean up after themselves. Nothing.
I mean,
at
I
all.
think it's an enforcement issue, not a, you know, that's my own opinion. I still think it should be 3,000 and up.
I think it should be 0 to any 10 square foot, like, period. If you're handing out a non-biodegradable, non-recyclable, or whatever, if you're handing out a plastic bag to someone, anyone, you should have to pay the tax, period.
Okay, so may I make a suggestion at this point? Because we're going around in circles. Can we, again, draft some legislation addressing both versions, and then let's just vote on it, and, so we can keep it moving.
The legislation has been drafted, but
Okay.
yes, we can move it out.
And then that way, whatever we vote on, however, if it falls where it falls.
And do we have two legislation 1,000 up, and then with not, I guess we can just add it pretty easily.
Right.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Did you send us that legislation, Amber?
Yes, a couple weeks ago, but I will resend it.
Amber, do we need to get together again and for this?
I'm sorry.
I said, do we need to get together and go over this with this and this?
No, we need to get together anyways, but no, we got this one. Okay.
All right.
So,
Just one quick question. Did you have you all talked to the businesses about this proposed tax?
absolutely not. Nope. They get a 50% revenue increase from this tax. Okay, moving on. Fire equipment fund. Please beat this horse to death. Do we want to?
I can tell you, I'm in favor of. Man, that sounds like crap again. I don't know what happened. I'm in favor of the legislation that I thought had been passed that didn't get passed. So you want to send that to the law director again and find out why we took that off the agenda to begin with. See if he has any issues with it.
I think Ms. Zord, I can send that to him. Absolutely, but do we want to put, so like even now, I think that the fire department, and Mr. Mosby, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think that they put off their, and I know it's a pandemic, but I think they put off their building capital improvements in the training budget because there just simply wasn't enough money to cover it. I would like to see that we definitely give them training, turnout gear, and I keep saying capital improvements, so like they need air conditioning and a new roof. Like they need it. So I know that it's for, currently the one that was written is just for acquiring vehicle leases and maintaining big equipment, but I feel like we need to restrict this to what they need. So they don't have to put it off anymore.
I hate when I double mute myself. Go ahead and bring it out of committee. Hey,
Right,
Ron, do you care to mute yourself again when you're not talking?
Yeah, because the texting is literally distracting.
Thank you, Ron.
Okay, because I wasn't doing anything, but that's fine.
So what do you want to do with this, Amber? Did I say that out loud or just in my dining room?
Amber, you still there?
Maybe she's on mute.
Maybe.
Amber?
Bueller?
Sorry, guys. Not Bueller. No, it's all of them. So I want to restrict these funds that basically the fire department is getting equipment and training and turnout gear that they need versus always putting that off at the last minute that they don't get it because something else comes up.
My fear is that the something else that's going to always come up is going to be air conditioning or is going to be the roof. And I think, this is my personal opinion, I think I think that the building should be a capital project and should be paid for out of the general fund and not paid for out of a department. That is completely my opinion.
Miss Ward, I agree with you 100%. And you know this as well as I do. We have been on this council for quite some time, and every single year, the building capital improvement for the fire department always gets pushed through, like swept under the rug, if you will, because we can't afford it through the general fund. Every single time. And that sucks for them because they do need air conditioning. They do need a new roof. They do need X, Y, and Z, but they always get slighted on this because it turns out there's not enough money on the general fund to do so. I want the fire chief and the fire department to be able to say, hey, in the fire equipment fund, we have X amount of money. Let's fix our air conditioning because in the general fund, they always get slighted. Every time. I don't want this to be a scapegoat to fix their stuff.
I agree.
I don't want it to be, okay, we can't afford it anywhere else, let's funnel it through there. Like, I want them to have the option to fix their buildings on this because let's be honest, in the city of North College Hill, capital improvements are always dead ass last.
No.
Like,
oh yeah, I used it earlier. Last. It was good.
Miss Nichols, can you please mute your phone, Madam Mayor?
She's muted.
Cool. But yeah, like, I get it. I don't want somebody to say, okay, cool, there's X amount of money here, but fix the fire station. Like, I want them to have that option to do so because they always get slighted every time.
So we're back to beating the dead horse. So what do you want to do about it? Because I am absolutely behind you on this whole push. So what are we going to do? That's where I am.
This is the only thing that I can think to do is that we restrict the funds. No dispatch fees, no salaries, no nothing. This is what the money can be used for. Training.
So do you have that legislation? Because I know we had that at one time. Do you have that again?
I do, but what we had at one time was just acquiring fire equipment or leasing or purchasing fire equipment. But to add their capital outlay to their building is the one that we reintroduced that didn't go anywhere. So the biggest thing is do we think that we should add building capital outlay to the fire equipment fund?
I'm in agreement with everyone else. I think no. I think we should just restrict it.
Okay, that means they may not get a new air conditioning or a new roof for another 4 or 5 years.
Well, here's the other part of that equation. If they don't have to spend, if they have money from this restricted fund to spend on uniforms and training, then maybe they will have money left in their regular budget to use for capital outlay. I mean, it can work both ways.
Absolutely, yes, ma'am. Then we have to make sure 100% as a council that we are looking at those specific line items every time, every year for the next 4 or 5 years. Because they've been asking for this for the last 3 years that I've been on council, and it hasn't happened because there hasn't been enough money. But
Well,
yet we're paying.
I thought that there was a check that was written to them to fix their roof. I mean, what happened to that? Did the roof not get fixed from the check that was written to them to fix the roof?
Enlighten me on the check.
I'm sorry, what?
I don't know what check you're talking about.
Okay, I'll find it. I know I heard that or read that somewhere. I remember everything that I read, so I'll find it.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Was that recent?
I don't know. I don't remember when I read it, but I do know that I read somewhere that there was a check written for a roof, either over the fire department or the police department. I'm not really sure.
Police department.
So
there was a check written recently for the police department. So here's the biggest problem. The biggest problem is that Mayor's Court, the police department, and the fire department all share one building, and money gets funded to Mayor's Court, fire department, or police department, whichever have you, to fix the roof. But the other 2 roofs don't get fixed, or one area gets a new air conditioning system, but the other 2 don't. Or 2 areas get a new air conditioning system and the 3rd area doesn't. We don't take care of that building as a whole. We take care of that building as a department basis. And then another department is slighted because we don't take care of our assets. We just kind of funnel it through whatever department it is at the time. Like, Ms. Orb, am I wrong on that?
Well, it's done as patchwork. That's the problem.
Right.
In my opinion, we should do the same thing we did to the city center and just replace the whole stinking roof and do it all at once. And if we have to take out a loan to do it like we did on the city center, maybe that's what we look into.
Right. So, but even our city center, we kind of patch it. I know that we don't use the other half, and I get that. But in the instance of fire, police, and Mayor's Court, and I know Mayor's Court falls under police, like, we either need to fix, Ms. Orb, you're right, we either need to fix the entire roof, the entire air conditioning unit, or nothing at all, and spread the cost out between all departments. but I don't know how to make that in legislation.
Well, we don't have to put that part in legislation because that's just going to happen the way it happens the next time they need something done. The only thing we need to address now is this fire equipment fund and the restrictions that we're going to put on it.
But I'm pretty sure that the fire department needs a new roof and they need new air conditioning.
So, Miss Underwood, you're the safety person, right? Thank you. Do you think you'd be able to get in touch with Mr. Fells and see what condition his roof is in and what condition his air conditioning is in?
I actually have a meeting with Mr. Fells tomorrow, so
That is perfect. Do you care to address that in your meeting?
I will.
That would be awesome. Or any other capital type projects that he may see in the next 2 years.
That is exactly what I was going to do.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes.
Does that answer your question, Ms. Bailey?
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Miss Underwood, can you do the same for police too?
Can I do what?
Can you do the same for police too? See if they need any kind of building improvements for the next 2 years.
The reason I was meeting with fire, and I don't want to get too far off of our agenda, is because I really wanted to put something on the ballot, like a ballot measure to fund, get the fire department some additional money. So I think, that's why I was meeting with them, but I'm certainly willing to meet with police as well. I just wanted to, just kind of let you know how that all came about.
Yes, ma'am. One thing that I can say without getting in a rabbit hole is look at a public safety fund that includes both fire and safety for us. No one else, just us. Okay, so salary ordinance. Did everyone get that one?
Did you say salary ordinance?
Yes, ma'am.
May I make a suggestion?
Absolutely.
Because I thought you wanted to have a second meeting and tentative executive session. Could we talk about the salary, or can we skip that and save that for your executive session meeting and go on to the tax duplicate one because you're already over time anyhow?
I know that. Yes. Are there any typos that you see that need to be cleaned up?
On
the salary ordinance.
I have a lot of questions about that salary ordinance. Not just typos. I have questions.
Okay. Can you send me your typos?
I have questions also.
Okay. Without talking about a person or a position, are there any cleanup typos that we want to talk about real quick so we can clean those up before executive session?
I will send you.
Cool. Ms. Underwood?
Does a typo include that the number shouldn't be the number it is? Because there's multiple typos if that's the case.
Can you guys send me oppositely your corrections on that?
That sounds like the executive session part of the meeting.
Yeah, Amber, we're gonna have to go into executive session about that salary ordinance.
I promise I completely agree with you, but if there's any there should be an S and there's not an S, can we go through that part and get all of that done before we move this one out?
Yes.
Just proofread it.
The answer is yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, cool, awesome. So tax duplicate resolutions. I know that these need to be cleaned up.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I looked at the auditor's website for these houses, and the one house is owned by, I guess, a couple of ladies who, I'm not sure if they live in Florida or they live part-time in Florida or what the deal
Which
is.
resolution are we going with? Are we going with the de-assessment or the assessment?
I'm talking about the one that's like $5,000. Like where we're charging these ladies $5,000.
That's the assessment
Okay.
one.
Assessment.
Why are we charging them $5,000?
It's okay. So these are for high grass weeds, and basically, Miss Underwood, we have had to cut their yard or clean up their yard X amount of times that it is resulting in to having to pay $5,000. We've asked them to mow their yard. We've sent them letters to de-weed it. We've done everything that we can to have them take care of their property privately before the city has had to take care of it for them.
The $5,000 worth of yard work, is that what you're saying? I mean, because that sounds even a little ridiculous to me. Has this gone on for years?
Probably. I don't have access to.
So we haven't billed them until now? Why did we take so long to bill them then if it's been going on for years?
Mr. Mosby, we're going to defer to the city administrator.
I don't have it in front of me, so I don't know what the details are on that particular ordinance that or resolution that you're talking about. The certificate, typically when there are assessments, they could be for one of many things. One could be high grass. Others, however, in fact, if this is, let me ask you a question. Is this one that's on La Boido?
No, it's on Noble.
Noble, I'm sorry. So this was actually a house that was basically it was a hoarded house. There was just garbage all over the place. We actually had to go in, remove all of it, rent a dumpster to remove all of the garbage and debris that was in the house. And so that house was assessed for the work that we did to remove all of that debris.
Where, Mr. Mosby, where are the owners?
Actually, in this case, believe the owner previously, I think, had passed away. It was left to someone, and you have to forgive me because I'm part of this is off of memory, but the people were no longer living there, and so they basically, abandoned the house for all intents and purposes.
Okay, thank you.
So
hold on. So I have a question about the other one, the decertification one.
I do too.
Absolutely.
And so I also, like Miss Underwood, looked it up. Sorry.
Hold on, Mr. Mosby, Miss Underwood. Did we actually bill for cutting the grass of the home that is on the decertification list?
What's the address of the decertification?
6584 Parish.
No, this was a house that was originally listed as rental property that is not rental property.
So in the instance of this house, and I'm going to be the one that says it, I know that this house is registered to Miss Toll. Yes, Miss Wood, are you looking at it? Mary Jo.
I can't understand you if you're talking to me.
Are you? Yes, ma'am, I am. Are you looking at 6584 Parish?
Yes.
Is that one listed to Miss Toll?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So just to make sure, because I do not want to play favoritism to anyone who lives in our city.
You got it.
This house was listed to Miss Toll or whomever as a rental property. However, we assessed this last year for high grass and weeds. I need to know, I'm sorry, we need to know if this house was built for cutting the grass. Because we wouldn't have assessed this house. What was the assessment for? I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me.
$50, and then $100 administration fee.
Okay, so if this house was assessed as a rental registration and she actually had bought the home, but we built it, I don't think that Mr. Knight would have done this in error. I just need some proof or some backup that this house was built in error or assessed in error before we read this again, because I do not want to show favoritism to anyone here.
I'm not sure what you mean by favoritism. The reason that
I mean that she basically works for the city, and we're going to be honest, and I don't know her, but I don't want this house to be de-assessed for whatever reason. If we build it in error, the council needs to see proof that we build this in error. And I'm not saying that you're doing anything wrong, or she's doing anything wrong, or Mr. Knight is doing anything wrong. Just to cover a CYA, cover our own ears, we need to see that we build this house in error and that it shouldn't have been assessed under rental registration or high grass, weeds, blight, whatever, so that way it's not perceived that we're showing favoritism to an employee of the city. I'm not saying that we did anything wrong or you did anything wrong or anyone did anything wrong. I just want to see the paper trail that this was assessed wrong, so that way we're not saying, okay, cool, she works here, she lives here, so we're just going to take this off of her assessment. Can I get a second or like anything?
I'll give you an amen to that. And by the way, it does say in this particular assessment, it speaks of the high weeds and grass accumulation. It does not speak of a rental registration fee.
Correct. And so what it looks like is, on face value, it looks like that we assessed her for high grass or weeds, and we cut it and we billed her for that, but now we're taking that back. It mentions nothing about rental registration or home ownership at all, and we just need to make sure it's clear cut to the point that this was done in error.
We want to avoid the appearance of say the word I'm trying to say, Erica, because I'm saying it wrong.
The appearance of impropriety.
Thank you. Yes.
Amen. Hallelujah.
So I guess I would agree to, if Ron says that we spent that $5,000 on the Noble, then I guess I'm okay with that one moving ahead, but I would not be okay with the other one moving ahead.
We need to clean up that one because I think that Ms. Steele said in our last council meeting that they were titled incorrectly. And so if we clean up
that one was not titled incorrectly. It was the decertify one was the one Ms. Dewald was talking to Mr. Dieters about. The other one.
I thought that she said that they both said decertified in like either the title or the body.
That's not the way I understood it.
We will all make the commitment to reread them for errors and proofreading. But the de-assessment one, we need some kind of backup or paper trail that says that this was built in error, so that way Ms. Underwood say it, we can make sure we are not whatever it is.
Appearance of impropriety. Did I say it right that time?
Yes, I think so, maybe.
The only thing left on the agenda then is the salary ordinance, which I believe we're talking about in executive session.
Yeah. However, can we have any kind of inclination on the decertification resolution?
I'm sorry, what did you ask? An inclination on what?
I think that the three of us have agreed that we would like to see some kind of paper trail on the 6584 Parish Avenue, de-assessing the property. But there seems to be that we are the only three on here now.
I'm sorry, Miss Bailey. Miss Bailey.
Yes, ma'am.
In the document that you emailed to me, it reads as if she were given a bill because of her grass, and because of her grass. It doesn't say anything about rental income. Now, if the problem is that she was charged for being a rental property and she's not a rental property, then just change the resolution to say that she was charged for being a rental property and she wasn't a rental property. That's not what it says. What it says is she was charged because they had to cut her grass was too high or whatever. If that's not the case, then it needs to be rewritten. If it is the case that she was charged because her grass was too high, then we can put it on the council floor, but I will tell you right now, my vote is no.
Right, because if the Ms. Wood, please refer to it again as the whatever it is. But basically, we can agree to say that we would like to see the paper trail behind this being deassessed of the property. Yes?
Yes. Bailey,
yes.
I mean, we can ask for a paper trail or not, but the way that it's written, yes, if it was given to us this way, I'm looking at how it reads. It doesn't say anything about rental income or rental property. Those words are not in there.
Right.
Miss Bailey, where did you get the inclination that it's regarding rental?
Mr. Mosby, I'm pretty sure just said that it's because we assessed her for a rental property that she.
Oh, I guess I didn't understand that.
Mr. Mosby, are you still here? Again, I can't see anything, so I'm not sure. Does it show that Mr. Mosby was still here?
It doesn't matter. We just need it fixed is essentially what it is, because I can tell you that I am exactly in the same frame of mind as Miss Underwood. Is if this gets to the council floor the way it stands, I will vote no also.
I'm gonna be honest with the two of you guys.
And we're not, for the record, we're not taking a straw poll, because I know we're not supposed to take straw polls. We're not taking a straw poll. I'm just saying that
what you are simply asking for is the same thing that I'm asking for. Is the reason behind that this property specifically would be deassessed or decertified from an assessment, because we are all confused on why we would charge that person X amount of money for high grass or weeds, and now we are taking it off, as this is not something that we do on a normal basis.
Okay, so Ms. Bailey, where did this piece of legislation come from?
This piece of legislation was sent to me as a communication. Well, actually, no, it was sent to all of council as a communication via the clerk, who had some questions about it because
we made a motion during the last meeting to move this, or Mr. Graver moved it to this.
Okay, I just want to know who drafted it.
Well, I don't know who drafted it, but I can tell you Mr. Mosby sent it to the clerk. The clerk sent it to the president of council. The president of council decided to send it to finance.
Okay.
Yes. And so, as far as the resolution of assessing the property for high grass and weeds, we're cool with moving that one out. This one is going to remain into finance committee until further notice. Yeah.
Actually, I don't think that it should. If it doesn't look like there's any typos in it. It looks like she was charged for having high grass and now somebody wants to uncharge her. That's fine. Send the legislation. We'll just vote it down or vote it up or whatever. We'll vote on it as it's been given to us.
So
it doesn't say anything about rental property.
So would we like to move this out of finance?
We can move both of them out of finance.
Okay. Ms. Orr, would you like to move this one out of finance?
Yeah, I don't care either.
Okay, cool. Mr. Hedger?
Sounds good.
Cool. Awesome. So we're going to move it out. I will get the other pieces drafted for you guys via the letter after. Other than that, any questions, comments, concerns?
I motion we adjourn.
Agreed, if I can.
Well, I'll second.
Awesome. We good?
Yes.
Man.